First page had the Book of Life. It had on the cover the Book of Life. Then you had two prayers, which was the beginning of Farad and the other one, the opening and the closing. You had them two prayers. Then you had the lessons, which we call 120, and then you had the universe and the moon.
Okay.
That was part of that. Later on, Allah gave us Jesus for the Salah, Lost Side, Wills, North America, Prana, Life in 120 Degrees, Wisdom, Hypocrite, Office of Allah, which consists of the 99 attributes of Allah, Hidden Meanings and Symbol, Islam in 90 Degrees. And he told us we didn't have to memorize the lessons. He said all we had to do was get understanding of it. But while I was upstate, we came home. Allah just came home from Mattawan, and I was one of the first guys out of Warwick that came home. That when he came home, so the guards gave me a list of questions, questions for him. We was going through hell. When you get arrested, whatever religion your mother and father was, your parents was, that's your become your religion. For instance, when I was arrested, my mother put down Protestant. So they made me a Protestant, and they had me going to Protestant church. I had to participate in services. Most of them was Protestant or Catholic. So if you wasn't Protestant, you usually was Catholic. And you had to go to services, and you had to participate. So we would get a lot of problems because we didn't want to sing, we wanted to pray, we didn't want to stand, we didn't want to kneel, we didn't want to go through the rituals they go on through. So we came home, we told Allah about that. He told us this. He said, son, when you're in another man's house, he said, you got to respect his laws, you got to respect his rules. He said, tell them brothers, when they go to church, and they tell them to stand, stand. He said, sing, sing. He said, pray, pray. He said, kneel, kneel. He said, if you don't like their rules, don't go back. In other words, if you don't go there, then you're not subjected to the rules. You ain't subjected. You ain't got to do them things. So if you don't like that, don't come when you get out. Make it your business not to go back. It's just that simple. He said, we got to respect him, though. Why we there? That's that man's house. That's his rule. We don't run that. He do. And you got to respect his rules. Pork. Every other meal, just about every meal they gave us was pork. Even, except breakfast. We get away with some breakfast. Then, remember we kids. So we need fuel. We need energy. We need food. And commissary consists of, commissaries or canteen was where you go out and buy your little cookies and candies and stuff. Only cookies they had was Nabisco. Remember in the 60s, man, Nabisco was pork byproducts. So we came over and told Allah about that. He said, listen, tell the little kids, he said, when you go back up there, he said, tell them they can eat the cookies. He said, do not eat the swine. He said, that little minute byproduct said you can get away with that. You can eat that while you're in prison. He said, but do not eat the flesh. So that's what I did. I went back to him. That's what we do. We was able to eat the cookies. We originally called our women moons. Then we later on started calling them the earth. Before we got our universal flag, we wore crescent, moon, and star. Our name was Allah and His Father said. We was called Allah and Nation, and it was Allah and His Father said. Allah never said He was the Father said. In fact, in 1969, January, at the Parliament, right? Allah had a trench coat on. He was sitting in like maybe the 7th, 8th row, in the middle, in the January Parliament, right around the corner of the school. And he went to get up. You know how you get up? The chair flaps up by itself. His coat got caught in the chair. So a few brothers jumped up to run over there, help him get his coat off the chair. He just put the chair down, moved his coat out of it, and started walking to the left past the piano. And as he walking down the aisle, brothers started saying, "Peace God, peace Allah." For a while they were saying peace God. And then they said peace Allah. When he got to the piano, he turned and faced the audience and he said, "Now I'll forget this." But my sister said, come back to me, "Who is that? Is that Allah?" I said, "Listen, you'll learn." And he says, "My name ain't no I'm God. I'm Allah." So immediately I learned something from that. That there's a difference between God and Allah. See, brothers be running around thinking that it's all right to say that because you God, you are Allah. It don't work like that. Look, we say we got to swim 9,000 miles in order to go back home. Home is heaven. Correct? The home of God is heaven. So, we got to spend 9,000 miles to go back home. Now I mean born, which is complete. So we got to complete what? The 3 cycles. Now, the 3 cycles we got to complete is what? Allah, when he came from Mount Amar, told us this. He said, listen, you can no longer have Muslim names because we're not Muslims. He said, change it. He said, look in your lessons, look inside yourself, and find who you are. And that's who you become. But change your Muslim, be no longer Muslim. So a lot of brothers like Jabbar would take the name of Justice or Just. Raheem would take the name of Merciful. You know.
Did you know Robert Walker?
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Did the father have a beef with him?
I get you.
Yeah.
So what happened is, also he taught us this about names. He says, nobody supposed to have a name given the O. So all the gods had the name Omar, you got to get rid of it. He said, O is a cipher, the cipher is wisdom. He said, we don't have it. That's feminine. He said, that's not, we don't have that. See, our power, her power, I see. That's what the cipher is. So we had to get, all the brothers had the name Omar, to the name Amar.
All right.
Absalom was exiled. He was he was the first now born. He ate some pork. He broke his fast by eating pork. Went crazy. He went to Allah, denied him, and he was told to leave here, and he left and never came back. He was exiled. So his name was taken from the Book of Life, and a lot of people that had the name Absalom had to change their name. One of the things that happens, and the reason that we had that thing called the real firstborns, because brothers started, it was only, so remember I told you Absalom was exiled. So now it's no longer 9, it's 8. So from 2 to 9 became 1 to 8. The 9th one is exile. He's no longer gone. He's picking from the Book of Life. And if he walked in the door right now, 99% of this nation would know who he is. Only us that was here back then remember him. And those that knew Akbar, but Akbar, that was Akbar's brother. That was his oldest brother.
Akbar from Medina?
No, Akbar, that's one of the firstborns. The 5th of the first 9 born. Akbar, that's his brother.
Okay.
Absalom was first, then he got now some also. He became one of the firstborn also. And he also had a sister named Yoke. Y-O-K-A-Y. And she was one of the first Earths. Yeah. Or names. He told us, when he told us to change our names, he also told us this. He said, look, he said from the age of knowledge equality, he said from the age of birth to knowledge equality. The moment you turn knowledge equality, you're no longer a father sinner, either God or earth. A father sinner is babies, they're children. You become God or earth. Now, so now we already got 2 transitions. We go from Negro, we gotta be killed, be reborn, and then in being reborn, we gotta start all over again. That's what a father sin is. A student or a child growing up learning about themselves, coming to knowledge, understanding themselves. All right? When you reach the degree of knowledge equality, that's why he told us that those older, that we don't teach people older than us. We're not responsible for them. We are responsible for the young. Those younger than you is the ones you're responsible for. So now, when you become knowledge equality, you're either God or earth. And you gotta, cause you're not, and you gotta grow into that. It's not, when you become God, it's not an overnight sensation. You gotta grow into that. There's things you gotta do. He said, we no longer say, Allah say, it's what you say. It's no longer repeating the things that He told us, but showing and proving. Because he's seen that I grew up in development. See, he didn't make us God's earth on a whim. He left. It was less than 1,000 of us. When he came home, there was thousands of us. He seen the growth and development. He seen us do our job. He seen that was our reward. We got reward for doing what we supposed to do. He looked at it. He said, "Man, this is what I'm talking about. This what it's about. This is what I told y'all to do, and we did it."
So was you at the first parliament they had in Mount
Yes.
Marshall?
Of course I was.
You came on?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Called the Sermon on the Mount. Yeah, I was there.
67 page.
Yeah, it's called the Sermon on the Mount. Yeah, I was there. And he told us a whole lot of things. One of the things he told us a lot of brothers get twisted is this, about Master Farad Muhammad. On the Sermon on the Mount, he told the Muslims there, he says, listen, he said, he told them that they believe in the mystery God, but they'd never seen Farad. And he was talking to them about them. He was not saying that Farad is a mystery God. He was not saying Farad wasn't God. He never taught us that. In fact, he taught us the opposite. He taught us that Farad wasn't a Farad. He was the original man. That he was God. He also told us that in order to bear witness to him, we got to bear witness to his messenger. Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We have no choice. In order to bear witness to him, he said we got to bear witness to his messenger. Now, a lot of brothers from the temple, especially ones that dissatisfied or had bad dealing with brothers in the temple, they started coming up with, bad things to say about them. Remember I told you in the beginning, he said, you ain't got nothing good to say about a person, don't say nothing at all. And that's a bad thing that they did. They shouldn't have been talking bad about him. But, and if you read the theology time, you see that he taught that the black man is God. He taught that we all Allah. He said, and the same thing Allah told you, anytime you want to see me, what you gotta do is come together. Because we all are Allah. Not you, him, no, we, us. And that's where, that's where brothers get a misunderstanding and a lot of problems come from. And, it's mandatory you learn your lessons. He told us that you have to know your lessons. He also told us this. He said, in order to be a member of this nation, you have to give a summer, winter, spring, and a fall. 1 year. You got to give a summer, winter, spring, and a fall. A whole year. Learning the lessons and practicing this life. Being here for a whole year. And especially those that was in prison. He said, you got to be out here. I don't care how long you stay in prison. You be here 50 years. You got to give us a summer, winter, spring, and a fall out here, practicing, teaching this here, before you become a member of this nation.